What is up, everyone? This video is for the females out there, the girls. So what happens if you see a guy in the daytime either ordering coffee at Starbucks, walking on a beach, at the mall, or just out and about in a scenario that's not a bar, party, or social gathering where you can just casually start talking to him? Well, I think it's very possible for you on your own to go up and engage in conversation with this man. Now, it's going to take some balls, and sometimes you will get rejected, but I think it's a possibility and it can be done. Um, as a guy, I've worked through this, I'm still working through this, and it's something that I think I'm very proud of because it's something I know not a lot of guys can do when they see an attractive girl in the daytime to do anything about it. I still chicken out a lot. Sometimes you can get rejected and so forth, but it's something that you can work on, and I think it's very valuable, and it can really help a lot of girls out there. I do think that a lot of girls are very timid and shy, and they miss out on a lot of opportunities with the guy that they want. When they're stuck in a situation based on hundreds of years of culture where a girl has to wait for the guy to approach. I've talked to so many girls who have just squandered opportunities, and it's so sad, and they're conforming to this meant to be myth. I've, for instance, asked a few girls about this, and I'm like, well, what happens if the guy doesn't approach you? And they'll say stuff like, well, it wasn't meant to be, and stuff like that. And there's been so many instances where I was the guy who failed to approach, and I know the girl would have loved it, or, okay, I'm not gonna lie, that doesn't happen often. I'm not that great looking, but there's probably a lot of guys out there who they fail to approach because they're too shy or too nervous or whatever reason, or they didn't see you, or they're just too stupid to pick up on signs that you were interested, and they didn't approach. And it would have been great, and in reality both parties would have loved each other, but it never took place because the girl's thinking, I have to let the guy do it first, and then guy's thinking, I'm too shy, I can't do this, I don't think he'll like me, and then it just, nothing happens, they never see each other again. Stuff like that happens, and then they chalk it up to it wasn't meant to be. See it all the time. It's so, I wouldn't say depressing, but this has got to change. And I do think that with equality and feminism and all this stuff, I'm seeing a natural progression, just very naturally, of girls approaching and so forth. But it's a minority, and I mean, it will stay a minority, but you can do you can do something about this. And it's interesting because I see a lot of attractive girls who are also stuck in such situations, and a lot of shy girls and stuff like this, and it can be very tough to do. I would say one thing though, if you're approaching it in a non-social environment that typically people don't approach in, out in the daytime, at a coffee shop or whatever, one thing you have to keep in mind, here's a little tip, is that they don't know what's going on, which is why sometimes I have to be very direct, is because when they're out and about, it's not like a bar or a party where they're going to guarantee to be hit on, or you're guaranteed to be hit on, and everyone knows that this is kind of seen, and when someone's talking to you of the opposite gender, they're probably hitting on you. It's kind of like the social scene itself implies that. When you're in the daytime, whether it's, I mean, out in the beach, I guess, kinda, but if you're like just walking, doing errands, supermarket, grocery shopping, getting coffee, walking to work, these are situations where the guy is just oblivious. He may just think that you're just asking for something, and so a lot of girls get this wrong. They think, if I just get close to the guy, he'll understand, or if I ask him about what time it is, he'll understand that I am hitting on him. Not really. You know, a lot of guys are pretty darn stupid. I know there's a few instances where that happened to me, and nowadays I'm a bit more savvy, but some guys are just they don't understand it. Some guys are pretty smart and they pick up on it. Again, it varies case by case. So in the daytime, there's just more a higher chance of that, and so um, uh, sometimes you want to just keep it somewhat direct. And it can be tough, but the best thing to do, in my opinion, my humble opinion, which may be wrong, is to not go too strong. Because if you go too strong, um, it can just be like, is this a reality TV show? Am I on camera? Is this a prank? Or why is this? Why this never happens? Why is this girl wanting my number so bad? Is there? Um, I'm a guy who never gets approached, never has any luck with the ladies. Something's wrong here. Even when there's nothing wrong and you really just want this guy's number. So there's so many issues if you go too strong. Like, hey, can I get your number? You're so sexy. And you put in all these sexual innuendos. But at the same time, if you go too weak, they don't even know what's going on. And then you lose the situation, he leaves and so forth. So generally, you want to say something in the middle, and there's a huge range of possibilities here. Um, Again, just practicing at it yourself, you can figure out which works best for you and your personality. It could be something, for instance, like, hey, I kind of I like that shirt. Again, don't say it like that. You have to be more straightforward. Don't stutter like I do. I'm trying to get rid of that. Hey, I like that shirt. That's really nice. Where'd you get it? Uh, and you want to avoid those quick questions because what I've learned is if you ask those quick questions um, and you don't transition, it can be something like, I got this at Forever 21. And then they'll just walk away real quickly. They think it's just, you're asking a question. Um, or you can be a little bit more intentional. I think ideally you could say something like, "Hey, I really like your face. You're kind of cute. What's your name?" And then start going from there. It's kind of ballsy, but it gets the point across pretty quickly. Um, and then you may want to tone it down from there and just start talking, engage in conversation. Where are you from? How are you doing? And eventually, casually go for the number. As a female, you don't have to go too crazy, too hard. Um, Again, depending on your personality and so forth. But as a female, you usually don't want to go too hard because, again, it's like, well, what's going on here? It never happens to me. Something's up. Or if you're just pushing it too much, it's just like, what's going on? This never happens. Like, and it can just scare off the guy. Um, so that's just my general advice based off my observations. Um, and yeah, I think it'll help out a lot of girls. I do think there's a lot of attractive girls out there who this can help a lot. They have never even thought that it was a possibility of seeing a guy in the daytime at the beach or whatever that they thought was hot and approaching and talking to him. Um, and it is a possibility. You could do it alone, you could do it with friends. It can work out. Um, and so that's a little bit of a skill set that can add to your tool belt to help you out. And I think it's very useful for me as because, you know, what if there's that girl, and I'm sure this has happened to you. You see that person, and it's one of those moments in the daytime, and you're like, "That's an amazing person. I know I'll never see that person again. I really want to just talk to them and go up to them." And not a lot of sober guys can do that in the daytime. And I'm still working through it. I still get chicken feed, or I still chicken out. Um, but it's less of an issue now. And I know there's so many guys who have either died or spent the majority of their lives just, maybe they were kings at the bar and so forth, but they could never do it in the daytime. And there's a lot of those instances where that girl could have been your dream girl, or that guy could have been the guy you married, or whatever, and it didn't occur. Um, so yeah, I think it's something to work on. For me myself, if you guys are curious, um, I don't know. I'm trying new things out because you know, sometimes you don't have the time to just sit there for like 6 hours straight, or 3 hours straight, or even an hour straight at the mall just waiting for a decent girl to walk by, unless you live in a very populated city. Um, so for me, I don't know. I'm trying some new things out. Maybe I'll make a vlog series on that. We're still on development. Uh, I'm still thinking about it. Anyhow, thanks for watching. Again, leave in the comments any questions, suggestions for future videos. Anyhow, again, this is a new way of new topic for my female audience. Um, and I guess yeah, this it's one of the biggest things I get questions on and messages on personally. I get female viewers asking questions on dating. Oftentimes they're very shy. So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later. See ya. Peace.